Hi, welcome to your Midweek Minutes for Module 1. And Midweek Minutes is a brief video that I will post each week, around the middle of the week, that will give you an update about what's happening in class. Sometimes I'm going to be talking about the content that we're examining in that particular week. Other times I'm going to be talking about assignments that you're doing. And sometimes I'll be talking about both. But it's a short video just to let you know that I'm really here and to keep you up to date on what you should be thinking about. So this week I want to talk to you about your best practices group project. Now, you're going to have a number of group activities in this class, and the two main ones are the best practices group project and your case study discussion groups. Now, this week we're not doing the case study discussion groups. That'll start next week. But I am asking you to start on your best practices group project this week. And so what you should be doing this week are two things. One, you should be getting yourself familiar with the assignment. The second thing that you should be doing is introducing yourself to your group members in your group space on the discussion board and exchanging contact information and generating discussion and questions that you have around that assignment. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. So first of all, how do you get to your best practices group space? There's a couple of different ways that you can do that. If you go to the course activities area, you will see that there is an area called group work areas. There's a link there and you can click on that. And if you did that, you would see listed your best practices group. Okay? And next week, in addition to that, you'll see your case study discussion group. Okay? So that's one way. Another way that you can access your groups is to go below the main menu. If you scroll down a little bit, you will see that there's an area called My Groups. And it will have the name of your best practices group, and it will also, next week, also then have your case study discussion group. Now, I have all of the best practices groups listed here because I'm a member of all of those groups. You will only have one group, and the title of that group identifies the topic of your best practices group project. Okay, so let's go into one of these. We'll go into this first group that is called Interviews and Tests for Employee Selection Best Practices. Okay, so we can click on the little arrow next to that group, and it will take us to this best practices group space. At the top here, you will see group properties, and it just identifies the group members. Underneath that, it has another area called Group Tools, and this has a number of different tools that you can use when working in your group. Three main ones that I find most groups really want to use. One is the file exchange. This is a cloud space where you can post files. These might be research articles, these might be sections of the paper. These are things that the group is working on, and you can post those and everybody can have access to those. Second very important area is the group discussion board area. This is a way where you can have a discussion board just for your group, just talking about your group project. The last area that I see most groups using is the send email link, and this is a very convenient way to send out email via the governor state system, and all of your group members are located in that send email space. Okay, so one of the things, as I mentioned, you should be doing is getting familiar with the assignment If you go to this file exchange area and you click on file exchange, you will see that there is a file listed up there called Best Practices Group Project Assignments. And so that is a description of this project. It gives you background on it, tells you how I will evaluate the project. It also gives you a timeline that you should be using going forward and how to approach and complete this project. So you should read that assignment completely. Now be aware that this assignment is also listed in the course activities area under assignments, where there is a folder called Best Practices Group Project. And I would suggest you look at that area also, because I have other resources around this project listed in the assignments area. So please read this assignment very carefully and to get a sense of how you should be proceeding with this group project. Now if we go back to that groups area, the second thing you should be doing this week is getting into your group discussion board for your group. Again, that's in the group tools area, and you will see there that there is a discussion board, and it looks like the folks in this discussion board, some people have already started posting. That's great. So you should go here and click on the forum and start to initiate a discussion with your group members. Introduce yourself. Talk about your communication preferences. Exchange contact information. I find that most groups really like to have phone numbers of each other, to text each other. If you can talk about availability for regular meetings, that would be very good. If you do have an alternative email that you prefer people use, that's another thing that you can talk about in this section. You should also, talk about the assignment. See what questions you have. And starting next week, you should really start doing a project plan. In week 3, I'll be asking that your group meet with me on Blackboard Collaborate. That's a video teleconferencing tool that's in Blackboard. And we'll meet and discuss your project plan. Later in the course, we'll meet again as for an update. And then finally, we'll meet on Blackboard Collaborate for your group to deliver its presentation on the paper that you produce. So you'll be producing a PowerPoint presentation in addition to the paper that you present. And everybody in the group is responsible for presenting part of that power presentation on Blackboard Collaborate in a formal presentation. Okay? So you should be getting in this week and getting in that discussion board area, introducing yourself and starting to talk about this group project. Okay? So again, recap what I'm expecting for you to do. You should get into the file exchange area or the assignments area and download that assignment and read it over carefully. Second, you should be getting into your best practices group discussion board, introducing yourself, and exchanging contact information. Now, before we close out this video, I want to emphasize that there are many ways for you to get in contact with me, and it's often very important that you ask questions. I don't have the luxury of being in a classroom and seeing if you have a confused look on your face or asking you to raise your hand if you have a question. You're going to have to contact me when you have questions, and there's lots of ways of doing that. Of course, you can email me. You can come to my office hours or make an appointment for my office hours. You can post a question on the course questions discussion board. You can call my office phone number. Also, importantly, please note this, on the instructor tab information on the main menu, I have listed my cell phone number. And I invite you to use that 7 days a week, as long as you don't call before 9 a.m. or after 9 p.m. Okay, so 7 days a week, as long as it's after 9 a.m. or before 9 p.m. You can call me on the cell phone if you have a question. Okay, well, I look forward to a great class. I know that this often is perceived as a very challenging class. I don't doubt that it is, but it's not the first time that I've done this class, and students are for the most part successful in this class if they are engaged, if they ask questions when they have questions. So please, when you do have a question, please be proactive and ask it of me. I look forward to talking with you soon. Take care. Bye now.